Trump's name appears more times in the Epstein files than God's name appears in the book about God.
So first of all, nothing is funny about mocking the Bible and holding up a Trump Bible. That's what you did. You made a joke, and I find offense to that.
Representative Jared Moskowitz delivered a devastating timeline of the Epstein files cover-up, revealing Trump's name appears more times than God's name in the Bible, and more than Harry Potter across 7 books. He exposed Howard Lutnick's 2012 visit to Epstein Island, 29 secret DOJ deals, and Congress forcing the release of files with a veto-proof majority before demanding that Bondi show him his section from her opposition research, Burn Book.
We've known each other a long time, and I'll always be appreciative for your assistance when you were Attorney General in Florida after the shooting at my high school at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas in my hometown of Parkland when we passed a bipartisan bill, the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas School Safety Act, which was the largest policy response to a school shooting in American history. Your department also prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law a constituent of mine and former felon that had plans to kill me when he was picked up by law enforcement after he was target practicing in his backyard with 2 rifles, a scope, a silencer, 3,000 rounds of ammunition, an anti-Semitic manifesto. My name was the only name on their target list, and my kids found out about this from their friends at school. So thank you. However, the most transparent administration in American history. Before Trump, we didn't know the word transparency, apparently. It's been 12 months since you gave Republican influencers part 1 of the Epstein files. You said the list was on your desk. Then a memo came out and said that there was no list. Phase 2 of the binders never happened. The President of the United States says the Epstein thing is a hoax. He blasts his own base for wanting the release of the files. He blamed Barack Obama. Republicans voted against the release of the files in the Rules Committee. Then they refused to even return to the Rules Committee until they could be protected from future votes on the release. Speaker Johnson sends Congress home a day early before break. They sent the Deputy Attorney General to meet with Maxwell. She says something favorable about the president. Miraculously, she gets transferred to a minimum security facility. No one can explain why. Miraculously, the leaks to the Wall Street Journal stop. We come back from break. We have the Massey discharge petition. Republicans drop a rule, a non-binding resolution trying to kill the Massey discharge petition. The White House says passing the Massey discharge petition is a hostile act. Trying to stop the necessary 218 signatures, according to Republican members that signed it, the White House brought them into the Situation Room, you know, the place where the president goes for time of war, promising things like appropriations or maybe even to primary them. People in the room say you were there. It didn't work. We get the 218 signatures. We eventually passed the Massey petition. You guys didn't release the files. You were forced by Congress, every member of the House except one, and the entire Senate. The reason the president signed it is because it was a veto-proof majority. We can't agree on anything, and yet the entire House but one member and the whole Senate forced the administration to release the files. Kash Patel under oath said to Senator Kennedy, the FBI is not in possession of any credible evidence that Epstein trafficked girls to anyone but himself. We know now that's not true. According to documents, Epstein had a worldwide sex trafficking ring. Girls from Poland, Czechoslovakia, Russia, Paris, modeling agencies sending him girls. He even had a relationship with a summer camp where he groomed girls at a picnic table. Ghislaine Maxwell says 29 Epstein associates cut secret DOJ deals. Turns out there is a list. 6 names readily available if you unredact them. Co-conspirators named, but we got them when you unredact them. Maxwell recently tells a House Oversight Committee that she wants clemency to release more names. Kash Patel under oath said Trump's name appears less than 100 times in the files. We now know that's not true. Trump's name appears more times in the Epstein files than God's name appears in the book about God. Okay, by the way, this is the Trump Bible. Move over, King James. Trump's name also appears more times in the Epstein file than Harry Potter's name appears in the 7 books about Harry Potter. Lutnick says that in 2008, he went to Epstein's home, says he had a massage table in the living room, that Epstein said he got one every day, that it was the right type of massage. He and his wife decide to leave and say they'll never be in a room with him again. Howard then says, I'm sure the Epstein stuff is all on video. He was the greatest blackmailer of all time. Well, how would Howard know that? But now the files are public, and in 2012, we found out that he and his family are on Epstein Island after Epstein pled guilty to state charges. I'm from Florida. I take my family to Disney World, not to Epstein Island. There are documents in the files that dispute the president's claim that he kicked Epstein out of his club. Allegedly, the president said Epstein that he asked Epstein to leave. Supported now, that's disputed though, statements from the manager of the club. Now, Madam Attorney General, I have like 25 seconds left. So because I'm curious, and I'd like to see, flip to the Jared Moskowitz section of the binder. I'm interested to see what staff provided on the oppo on me, and because we're in the Olympics, I'm gonna give it a grade. I just wanna see how good it is. So give me your best one.
So first of all, nothing is funny about mocking the Bible and holding up a Trump Bible. That's what you did. You made a joke, and I find offense to that. That's all I have to say.
I want it from the burn book.
Shame.
I want it from the burn book, which is the best one. What you got?
Moskowitz began with rare bipartisan grace, acknowledging Bondi's assistance after the Parkland shooting and her department's prosecution of a constituent who had planned to kill him. This genuine acknowledgement of past cooperation made his subsequent indictment more powerful, not less. He was not a partisan opponent, but someone with personal experience of Bondi's capacity for doing the right thing, which made her current failures all the more inexcusable. The cover-up timeline Moskowitz presented was comprehensive and damning. 12 months after Republican influencers received Part 1 of the Epstein files, Phase 2 never happened. A promised list was found not to exist, according to an internal memo. The president called the Epstein matter a hoax and blasted his own base for wanting the file release. Republicans voted against release in the Rules Committee, then refused to return until protected from future such votes. Speaker Johnson sent Congress home early before the break. The Deputy Attorney General met with Maxwell. She said something favorable about the president, and miraculously received a minimum security transfer that no one could explain. Leaks to the Wall Street Journal mysteriously stopped. The administration's response to the Massey discharge petition revealed the depth of their desperation to prevent transparency. When the petition gained momentum toward the necessary 218 signatures, the White House brought signing Republican members into the Situation Room, a space reserved for wartime decisions, and reportedly promised appropriations or threatened primaries. Moskowitz noted that people in the room said Bondi herself was present. Despite this extraordinary pressure campaign, the petition succeeded. Congress passed it with every House member except one and the entire Senate, forcing the administration to release the files. The president only signed because it was a veto-proof majority, meaning even this administration could not politically survive vetoing the release of Epstein files that the entire country demanded. The substance of what the files revealed made the cover-up even more indefensible. FBI Director Kash Patel testified under oath that the FBI does not have any credible evidence that Epstein trafficked girls to anyone but himself. This was demonstrably false. The files document a worldwide sex trafficking ring spanning Poland, Czechoslovakia, Russia, and Paris, with modeling agencies sending girls to Epstein. He even maintained a relationship with a summer camp where he groomed victims at a picnic table. Patel also testified that Trump's name appears less than 100 times in the files. This, too, was false. Trump's name appears more times than God's name in the Bible, and more times than Harry Potter's name appears across all 7 books in that series. Moskowitz's dissection of Howard Lutnick's Epstein relationship was particularly devastating. Lutnick admitted visiting Epstein's home in 2008, observing a massage table in the living room, and hearing Epstein say he received one every day of the right type. Lutnick and his wife left and claimed they would never be in a room with Epstein again. Yet in 2012, 4 years after Epstein had already pled guilty to state charges involving underage girls, Lutnick and his family were photographed on Epstein's island. And Lutnick's own assessment, "I'm sure the Epstein stuff is all on video. He was the greatest blackmailer of all time," raises the obvious question Moskowitz posed directly. How would Lutnick know that? Meanwhile, Ghislaine Maxwell has told a House Oversight Committee that 29 Epstein associates received secret DOJ deals, and that she wants clemency to release more names. 6 co-conspirators are readily identifiable in the files if certain redactions are removed. Documents in the files also dispute Trump's claim that he personally kicked Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago club, with statements from the club manager contradicting the president's version of events. Moskowitz's closing request to see his section in Bondi's opposition research binder was brilliant theater. By treating the hearing as an opportunity to grade the administration's opposition research on him, he simultaneously exposed that such a binder existed, that Bondi had come to the hearing prepared with political attack material on Democratic members rather than substantive answers, and diffused any intimidation its existence might have been intended to create. Bondi's response, objecting to Moskowitz's joke about the Trump Bible, confirmed the binder's existence while demonstrating her inability to match his wit or address his substance.